All right, there, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard to say and even talk about another man down and another one bit the dust, another one passing away. Who's in the bodybuilding world, fitness world, and it's hard to even talk about. Like people are just falling left and right, like a house of cards. So it's not. And you wonder why. So, okay, so for those of you who follow Lindner, and dead at 30, passed away, as you all know, it's all over the internet. I have to say my piece as well, too, so I'm trying to get my 2 cents in there as well as an ex-competitive bodybuilder at the early 90s to the late, for 10 years, so late 90 to 98, around that time. So around that time frame. But anyway, it's very hard to watch. But this guy was very aesthetic. He had some freakazoid going on in his muscle fibers, which makes it twist every time he flexes, and then he, what do you call it? Oops. Every time he flexes, and then he lets go and stretches, his muscle fibers just twinkles up and down, so they twitch like you're getting a zapped, like electric shock or electric therapy or whatnot. It's very interesting how he does that, but apparently it's some kind of condition. Not too many people have that. I don't know, no inclination how he does it, but it's just pretty fascinating to watch. But anyway, I'm going to wait a minute. Let me screen catch this actually, because I forgot to screen catch it. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. Yeah, let's see how this works here. Give me 1 second. A little technical difficulty here. Let us do this again. Hold on a second. Full screen. Just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, while I fix the little mishap, little hiccup, little thing. But anyway, yeah, going back to what I said, and now we're back on again. So, going back to Joe Lindner, dead at 30. His cause of his death unknown, but people are very in tune to what's going on. But going through RX Muscle with RX Muscle with David Palumbo on his channel. Might want to go check it out and subscribe to his channel as well. I'm just a small channel, but I'm also in tune with the whole fitness and bodybuilding as well too. As an ex-competitor, I want to know what's going on because people are falling like a house of cards. And it's another man down. Apparently he's a good man. I don't know him, but I saw a lot of his content on his platform on Instagram and YouTube channels. So he's nothing but just aesthetic, ripped, sliced and diced, and very dry. But apparently he's really cool, really cool guy. So anyway, let's listen to what Dave Palumbo has to say about Lindner. Okay.
Dave Palumbo here with an RX Muscle news update. Unfortunately, we're reporting the passing of another bodybuilding industry social media darling, Joe Lindner, also known as JoeEsthetics. He had over 8 million followers. He was a German-born bodybuilder who's lived in Thailand for a while, who's in Dubai. He was a social media influencer, probably one of, the best out there. I know his goal was to be the #1 fitness influencer, which is a lot different than a lot of people's goals. A lot of people want to be Mr. Olympia. They want to be a classic physique champion, men's physique champion, bodybuilding champion. He loved social media. He loved to perform. He spoke German and English. I watched the video with Dr. Tony Huge, who was talking about him because Tony lived right next door to him in Pattaya, Thailand, for quite a while. He lived in the building next to, I think he had the penthouse in his building, and then Tony had the penthouse in his, and they were doing a lot of videos together back in the day. I think leading up to the COVID years. And, he was pretty popular back then. And he had a great physique. He was known for doing this thing with his chest where he'd reach out his hands to the side and he would make his pec fibers like kind of twitch.
Yeah. Which is pretty interesting. That is like really, that's like cartoonish. I don't know how he does it, but it's pretty wild.
Everyone has their own little gimmick or so, and that was his thing. And, it was cool. And, who doesn't like to look at that stuff? If you get lean enough, you can do stuff like that and really see the fibers jump around. And he had his thing. He really did. And I think it probably put him on, I would say it put him on the social media map. Because it was a video that went viral for him and got him a lot of people watching. But, you could do something that gets people watching you. If you're not entertaining and you don't do fun stuff, people won't continue to watch you. And his joy for the sport of bodybuilding just exuded out of him. His whole thing was, he never really used a lot of bodybuilding drugs. I know for a while he tried to go natural. He said that didn't really work out too well for him. I know he went on HRT. He looked much better on that. The question about why he died at age 30, however, is something that, only the big man upstairs might know why that happened. He was complaining of neck pain, according to his girlfriend that he was living with, and for a couple of days, I believe. Now, I also heard that one of his best friends said that he might have had a seizure. I heard aneurysm also was mentioned by, I believe, his girlfriend, who had a post on social media that she felt maybe it was an aneurysm. He did take the COVID vaccine. We know that. Tony Hughes talks about that and actually put up a little post about him having gone to the doctor after that, and he had a lot of heavy metals in his bloodstream, which we don't know if it was caused by the vaccine. But the fact that he did take the vaccine, could certainly have caused some situation that might have led to his death. We don't know that. Obviously, until an autopsy is performed, we're not going to know. People like to speculate, especially when they see someone as young as 30 years old just die for no reason.
Yeah.
That's why it's important, to go to the hospital, go to the emergency room if you don't feel right. As a matter of fact, I am sitting in a hospital. Once again, you might be saying, where is Dave? I see machines. Back in the hospital.
Back in the hospital.
I was experiencing some lung pain the other day. I went for a chest x-ray. They said it was clear. Then I started getting a fever a few days after that. So I drove myself to the emergency room. Full workup of tests. They got me on some IV antibiotics now. I must have an infection somewhere. And hopefully that'll be taken care of it. You can't, if I would have waited and let it get out of control, I might have got pneumonia again. And that was not going to be an option, for me to. Okay,
so I'm going to stop it there and do my common sense and talk about Dave Palumbo. I like Dave. I think a Toronto show back in 93, 94, around that time frame. It was huge back then. It was like, and I was a competitor at the time as well too, but I was amateur. And I seen Dave, like, not too many people who's that stature and almost 300 pounds on stage. It was phenomenal. And he was not tall. He was just compact. And it's like, who the hell is this character? It's like another guy. So anyway, so now he's got this this thing, YouTube, going on RX Muscle, and is very in tune about what's going on in the bodybuilding world, which I used to be a part of, but now I'm also cracking back in and seeing what's up with the whole industry as well too. So as a former competitor, it's hard to see one of your good fellow men or competitors fall down, and because of whatever. Could it be the shots? We don't know. Could it be synthetics? Could it be whatever drugs he was using? Could it be party drugs? Who knows? We'll find out. But to me, it's hard to see any competitor pass away. So hopefully we'll find out, and we kind of know. But everything is speculation. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of days, or maybe a week or so, how the autopsy is, and see what's up with that. So let's move on with Dave Palumbo's his take on it. Okay.
I just underwent open heart surgery 3 months ago.
Yeah. Also, yeah, he went open heart surgery. So when if you feel something's wrong, go to the emergency, which is right, common sense.
And getting pneumonia 3 months after open heart surgery, which obviously increases your risk for, definitely can be something that could be dangerous. So when you have something that doesn't feel right, and as bodybuilders, the great thing is, yes, we could push pain off to the side when we're in the gym, but when we're not in the gym, we have a really good understanding of our body and a good feel for what feels normal and what doesn't. And if something doesn't feel normal, you absolutely must go get it checked out, because it could be the difference between life and death.
Yeah.
Joe Lindner was a person who touched a lot of people's lives, 8 million people on Instagram alone. And he loved what he did. He loved bodybuilding. He loved promoting a healthy lifestyle. He loved, showing his physique off and doing crazy, kooky things and having fun and making people laugh. And he's going to be missed because of that. And, he's gone way too early. 30 years old is something that we should never have to deal with. I can't even imagine what his parents are going through. He's a young man. He just really was getting a start in life, and now he's not with us anymore. So yeah. I'd like to send out my condolences, my prayers, my love to Joe's family and all his friends and followers on this very sad occasion. I hope they figure out what happened to him, just so that the family has some closure. And once again, don't take your health for granted. If something doesn't feel right, go get it checked out. Dave Palumbo with an RX Muscle news update.
All right, so that was Dave Palumbo with his update on the cause of death of Joe Lindner, Mr. Aesthetic. I am so glad, I am so glad that I retired from the sport. I have no longer any desire to look slice and dice and to compete on stage whatsoever. I've got all my trophies, my standings. And the only thing I didn't get was my pro card, which is, I'm cool with that. It wasn't meant to be. Let's just say it's hard. It's hard to get your pro card at the stature that I'm in. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, it can be done because Sean Clarida proved the point, because I'm the same height as Sean Clarida. Not the same weight, because he's just short, compact, and as well as Lee Priest, which I totally like his whole output, genetics, and why his physique is. He's definitely my number one bodybuilder that I followed and admire back in the early 90s till now, actually, as well too. He's a little bit out there, but I like it, kooky, and tells you the way it is, just the way it is. So anyway, so going through the other channels, Doucette, which I do like him, who's also Greg Doucette. Also, he doesn't know, he's just speculating, but he apparently is giving his 2 cents of how he passed away as well too. So let's go hear what he has to say, and then we'll talk about it and do my commentator in between his thoughts. So I'll scrub them as well too. So
Coach Greg, in today's video, I'm going to be answering many of your questions regarding the passing of Joe Lindner, or JoeEsthetics.
Okay.
When leaves us, part of the grieving process is finding out what exactly happened. What was the cause of it? What may or may not have led to it? We want to know, is there someone to blame? Can we point the finger? Was it something he did? Was it something he didn't do? And when we look at it from the outside, for example, if you're not in his immediate family, you're not one of his friends and family, you want to know, is there something that he did that I could avoid doing that would allow me to live longer? No one wants to believe that something that they are doing, that they choose to do, is impacting how long they're going to be here on this earth. For the most part, ignorance is bliss, and we don't want to believe that the things that we're doing or not doing are going to impact our lives. And so the number one cause of concern, of which I had not discussed in my previous video, was that Joe Lindner had been on the Bradley Martin podcast discussing the fact that he had received 4 shots, and I'm not talking about alcohol.
I got it, actually.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Even 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Joe had expressed concern that he had taken those shots out of peer pressure, that he didn't really want to do them, and that in getting his blood work, he had seen some strange abnormalities.
It's the same like you go to a
You were worried about your heart?
and you are with the wrong people. All of a sudden, you might do something on this party that you don't want to do because there's these people that are like, you should do it.
And I can tell you that I've also taken those shots for the exact same reasons as Joe described in that video.
I don't like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Whatever. It is what it is.
When I think about it later on, I'm like, what did I do, man? But
And so remember, depending on the country you're in, you may or may not have had to have taken this. To travel, to work, to go to movies, restaurants, and so on. Some countries required you to take this and others didn't. And so Joe ended up...
Put a pause it there. So that's what the misconception out there with, we don't even know what's going on with the shots and the COVID, but he took 4 shots. So, I hear horror stories about that as well, too. So many people who had their shots have had some massive injuries internally, which is the heart, lungs, whatever ailment you had, it increased it by tenfold. It was, and people are still feeling it now. So could that be it? We don't know. But it's hard to say. But let's move on.
Plasmapheresis, something to clean out his blood, and he did this on 2 separate occasions. He was trying to be healthier than last time. Joe was very proactive with his health. Remember, he did in fact abuse PEDs when he was younger, but he was only on HRT, and when he prepped for his various competitions, he hardly added anything to his cycle. I can promise you that he was very concerned with his health, far more than the average person, was getting regular blood work and doing everything the right way. And so because of that, many people are speculating that they know that the reason for Joe's passing is because he did those 4 shots. While other people are speculating that no, it has nothing to do with that. It absolutely has everything to do that he was not 100% natural. Now remember, it's only been a few days and an autopsy has not yet been performed. And so people that are saying it's a blood clot, that they know this for a fact, that it's an aneurysm, that it's a heart attack, that it's this or that, nobody actually knows the exact answer. And even after the autopsy report comes out, whether or not it's a blood clot, whether or not it's an aneurysm, it still will not determine what led to that. Let's assume it was an aneurysm and or a blood clot.
Okay, whether it's a blood clot and aneurysm, doesn't it link together with ejections? And if you got 4, it's caused by that, isn't it? So I don't know. I'm just saying because it increases the ailment, whatever you have, by 10, and then you become. It's a death trap. Let's just say that. But anyway,
does that mean that was caused from some shots? Does that mean it was caused from taking performance-enhancing drugs? Could it be from taking stimulants, fat burners, doing cardio harder than last time, training with weights in the gym, having too low of a body fat percentage, or having rippling muscle disease? Could it have been perpetuated by his style of diet, the way he ate? Was he over-dieting, overdoing cardio? Was he overly stressed, concerned, not sleeping enough? It could be a mix of everything. But one thing we do know is that underlying genetic conditions can in fact influence how long someone is going to be here on this earth. When someone passes away far too young, as it was in this case, what we do know is it's likely a combination of both environmental and genetic contributing factors. JoeEsthetics' aunt passed away from developing an aneurysm. And so perhaps his genetics, what he was born with, something he inherited from his parents, perhaps those genetics were not as strong as those from someone else. And so although he appears to be extremely healthy, He's getting regular blood work. We don't know if the veins, arteries, and so on are actually as strong as they could have been. And so because of that, anything that contributed, added strain, made his body have to work harder, in particular, the heart, arteries, veins, capillaries, and so on, all of this could have added up together and contributed to his early demise. And so to simply blame any one given cause as being the reason for his death, to me, that is going too far. You can't say it was because of this or it was because of that. Could it have been because of everything? Absolutely. If he had not gotten any shots, may he have been with us right now? Maybe. Had he not traveled great distances on a plane, would he have perhaps survived? Well, maybe. Had he never used performance-enhancing drugs, had he never done a bodybuilding show, had he never done cardio, lifted weights, had the life that he lived, could he be with us here right now? Well, maybe, we just don't know. But even if he was, we don't know if perhaps next year the exact same thing may have happened. I remember growing up, and remember I started lifting weights at the age of 10, and I remember my parents telling me a story of somebody who was lifting weights in the gym at their house. They lifted the weight over their head, and they passed away from an aneurysm. Remember, I was about 12 years of age at the time. And I remember going into the gym, lifting weights, and being very nervous, being very scared, concerned that this was going to happen to me. I was 12 years old. And because I heard of somebody dying doing the exact same thing as me, that scared me. Scared me so much that here at 47 years of age, I still remember it. I remember how it made me feel, the fear and in fact panic in lifting weights. And it made me not want to do it. And so when I'm in the gym lifting weights now at 47, I'm not thinking the same way as when I was 12, worried about getting an aneurysm in the gym. But because of Joe's passing right now, I'm analyzing everything I've ever done. I'm thinking, well, I abuse performance-enhancing drugs. I'm on HRT. I, in fact, got 3 of those shots. And I do both cardio and weights harder than last time. Not to mention, I ain't no sober guy. I party harder than last time on the weekends. And so given the fact that I'm 47, this guy was only 30. How lucky am I? How fortunate am I to have my health being this good at this late of an age? Why is it that millions of people around the world have done the exact same thing and in fact far worse, greater doses for longer periods of time? Why are we all okay, but yet Joe was taken from us at such an early age? And so for me, the answer is genetics. No one wants to think that anything that they did or are doing is going to be the cause of their early death. But consider this. How many of you out there drink? How many of you smoke cigarettes? How many of you perhaps were using recreational drugs?
Yeah.
What is the most dangerous thing that you're doing? And yet you're still doing it. You're doing it.
Yeah.
Perhaps you tell
Not
yourself,
anymore,
it won't happen to me. Yeah. I know that's what I always said. It's not going to happen to me. When I was abusing performance-enhancing drugs, taking tests, tren, and so on, I'm thinking, yeah, but I'm young. I eat healthy. I do cardio. I'm fit. I get regular blood work, and my blood work looks fine. And so it won't happen to me. But will it? Will it really? How do I know for sure? And so listen, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. And we're here to live our best lives. We can't go around thinking the way I did at 12, that every time we go to the gym, that could be our last rep. That anytime we do anything, that this is going to be the last thing we do. Our life would not be fun. We need to move on. We need to keep moving forward. Doesn't mean we forget. Doesn't mean we don't do our best to be healthy, but we can't constantly live in fear. And so if you happen to get a shot or abuse PDs in the past, well, it's in the past. You can't change the past. We can't time travel. We don't get do-overs. But what can you do right now? You can do everything in your power to be as healthy as you can be. It's not about being perfect. It's about being better than you are. Can you do better today than you did yesterday? Can you do better tomorrow than you did today? And so if you're on an abusive steroid cycle right now, perhaps rethink it. Is it worth it? Could you perhaps switch to doing HRT? Have you gone to your doctor? Have you gotten blood work done? If you're overweight and or obese, could you perhaps eat healthier? Could you lose some weight? If you don't do cardio, could you in fact do 150 minutes of cardio a week? If you're smoking cigarettes or vapes, could you perhaps cut down on that? Could you quit? And if you're abusing alcohol or recreational drugs, could you in fact stop or at least cut back on it a little bit? And so of course, Joe's passing is a tragedy. And I'm thinking, how can we learn from this? Well, if we get his autopsy report and it says he died from this or died from that, does that actually change anything? Will you just be quick to point the finger and say, see, I told you it was that, it wasn't this? Or does it not make more sense to perhaps reflect on your life and say, is this the true path that I've chosen? Am I living the life that I wanted to live? Because remember, there is no guarantee you're going to be here tomorrow. There are no guarantees and no doers, and so please live your best life. Don't make the mistakes that you'll regret in the future. Be proactive with your health, ending it here. Subscribe, click the bell button.
All right, that was Greg Doucette, bodybuilder, guru / competitor. I don't really know him too well, but I just subscribe to his channel, so he's very, very in tune with what's going on with the whole fitness industry, bodybuilding industry, drug industry, PEDs, and it was TRTs, whatever you want to call them. But let's just say we don't know how Joe Lindner passed away. Let's just go to only speculate, but you got to put two and two together and come up with your own conclusion that 4 shots, hasn't felt really well after those shots. Blood work was high in, mercury or something like that, or let's just say that has to play effect as well too, combined with his other recreational habits and all of that. Let's just face it, bodybuilding is a very visual sport, but you're also dying on the inside. I know many competitors who party their ass off on the weekends, party warriors as they would call it, including myself back in the day, and looking physically great while you're doing a show and competing for a show, and then and your body's screaming on the inside saying, help me. Basically that's what's going on. But all right, I'm gonna end it now. My 2 cents on Joe Lindner, and I'll give you more information, I guess, how he passed away and how the autopsy looks. I'm sure all the other channels as well, and we'll end it here. Okay, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment down below, and leave a message, and then I'll see you in the next video and part 2 of Joe Lindner, how he passed away. They're all falling down. Everybody's passing away, so you gotta really look deep inside. I'm so glad that whole part of my life is finished now, but now living a healthy life, especially when you're spirituality and you have God in your life, everything starts to fall into place, and you start to realize what your path is meant to be, and follow that path where the big man leads you the way. Alright, my 2 cents, guys. Bye for now. God bless, Godspeed, and I will see you in the next video.